I'm Tanya Boyd, Director of Project Success Academy, and Matt Zembruski is an amazing subject matter expert on AI. I already got one request on here, Matt, and it was how to choose the right tool. And so with that, take it away.
All right, great, great. I'll share my screen. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Much apologies for the delay. I promised Tanya I was going to be on 10 minutes early, and then I tried to join 3 minutes early, and then I went into some technical issues, which required a full reboot of my computer. So we should be all set to go. So I'm going to share my screen, but as project managers, we know how that is. We always have to adjust and adapt, right? That's what we're here for. That's why we get the jobs we get. Let me make sure I'm in the right view here to share the screen. This should work. Let's see. Nope, that's not the right share. Hold on. It's one with my calendar in it. There we go. All right. There we go. Now you can see the screen, right? Everybody's good. Great. If there's any questions, by the way, thank you, Tanya, for the introduction, and we'll dive right in. We'll keep the pace up. If there's questions as we go through, please. They have the ability to speak up, Tanya, right? Come off mute and just speak up as we go. Is that okay or
Yes, that is totally fine with all of us.
okay? Yeah, because I want the way that I work for all those of you who don't know me is I'm very interactive. I'm all about helping meet you where you're at and help you move the needle to the next step, right? And here we're talking about AI becoming a superhuman project manager. What's amazing here is there's so much that's out there. There's so much you can do. No matter how experienced you are with AI, you can go better, faster, stronger with some of the things I'm going to share today. And if you already know all this, that's great. We can take it to another level as we work more together. So let's keep going. And I also I'm working with a tool called Mentimeter that I don't know how many of you have used before. I know Tanya's seen it, Sloan's seen it, Amanda's seen it, a few others. But if you're not familiar with Mentimeter, we're going to use it. We're going to demo it for you right now as we're going to dive in. This is one of the ways that I meet the audience. It's interesting. It's spinning up. Oh, probably because I rebooted. Um, it's one of the way I meet a group where they're at. Whether you're working with a project team, whether you're working with executives, whether you're in person or virtual, this tool is amazing. I've been using it for I think over a decade now. There's a lot of different ways to leverage it. It's absolutely fantastic for project managers. It's not the point of today's webinar, but it is an amazing tool. It has a little bit of AI built into it, not a lot yet. Hopefully they'll get more. But what this is Mentimeter. So it's you can go to menti.com, menti.com. You can use your phone to go to the QR code there on the side, or just go to menti.com with any internet-enabled device. This is an anonymous survey tool essentially it doesn't keep track of your name or anything about you. It just you put your votes and your suggestions in all anonymously. So what we're going to do first is we'll just survey you all, see where you're at, how are you currently using AI in your project management work. So if you go to menti.com, I see 6 of you are there now. And then you can enter in up to 3 different words or phrases, just start to give us an idea. And the way this builds a word cloud, for those of you who might not be familiar with it, again, great tool to use. I've used it with executive audiences in person, used it a lot virtually. It will build a word cloud, and if multiple people say the same word or phrase, it'll move that toward the middle and it'll make it more bold. So if you sort of look at the middle of the word cloud, like social media, marketing, multiple people have entered that in. So that's why it goes to the middle. Things that go to the far outside are things that typically only one person. So you can imagine when you have a large crowd, I've seen this done with hundreds of people. And when you have a group that big, the word cloud gets massive and it's pretty cool to see. So these are great. These are excellent examples. So social media marketing, yes, a lot of great applications there for AI. Presentation drafts, KPIs, communication. You can see there's a lot of complexity. I have a I'll note my background in a second, but I have a lot of background in project management, technical project management as well, for I think 20 plus years of my career, focused in on that, and then moving into Agile and doing it from a different perspective to move teams and leaders to higher performance. And all these things, as project managers, we're all faced with a lot of complexity, a lot of things like presentation drafts, research, meeting summaries, you know, you know, information consolidation. There's so much information at our fingertips, and we often are the tip of the spear. We have to gather all that. We have to organize it. We have to present it in certain ways to different audiences. We have to email things to people. And there's just a lot. We're in the middle of a lot of activity. So these are excellent responses. We're not going to do that one yet. Hold off on the second one. So the AI adoption window is wide open right now. It's not going to be open for more than maybe a few more months. At some point, it's going to close. And what I mean by that is right now you're early. Right now, you are early by being a project management professional and starting to lean into, hey, how can I use more AI? How can I get more knowledgeable about this? You're attending this webinar itself. You're at the front of this. By the end of this year, and it might happen in a few months, we're going to start to flip the switch where everybody's immersed in AI, and you don't want to be playing catch up at that point. So the more you can do now, the better. And the adoption window, certainly for most companies are at the very beginning of it. So again, as a project management professional, you don't want to play the wait and see game. You want to get involved. You want to lean into this, and you want to leverage AI to help you do your job better, which typically means to do things faster with higher quality and lower stress. Not putting more hours in, not burning yourself out. So a little bit about me, over 30 years experience corporate transformation. I mentioned project management. I've been using ChatGPT. I do have a technical background, electrical computer engineering, but what I love about AI and where we're at now with AI is ever since ChatGPT was announced in late 2022, it's the great equalizer. Doesn't matter what your academic background is, your cultural background is, doesn't matter if you're technical, non-technical, doesn't matter what country you're from, what language you speak, you have the access to the same superpower of AI. So it's not an easy button though. You have to like figure out how to dance with it, how to work with it. So I've worked with a lot of different companies across multiple industries. One worked with a company called Spencer Technologies in Massachusetts, and we documented there because we're all about as project management professionals, right? We're always measuring. Are we on budget, on track, all these things, right? We want to measure things. So we wanted to measure, and we typically do this in our programs. How can we measure the ROI that you're getting out of working with AI? If you're going to start putting in 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week or what have you into AI, or you're going to put this money into the investment of maybe the AI platform, how can we see the ROI that you're getting out of it? And AI is a beautiful set of clay essentially that you can mold, and when you do it right, you can easily get a 10x ROI within a year. I've seen this particular group got over 20x ROI. They had 65 professionals come through one of our programs. And again, I'm not about teaching theory, I'm about showing you measurable results. So what we're going to do even today in a webinar, as we go through this material, is I'm going to show you some examples. And please feel free to follow along. Open up a browser with me. I'm going to open up ChatGPT. Everybody have access? Has everybody played with ChatGPT? I'm guessing the answer is yes, based on the way you responded to the earlier poll. I can see a lot of your shining faces here. So this is what's going on as project managers. We manage a lot, right? There's just a lot that we're managing. It's not just the project. There's a lot of people, there's process, there's communication, there's so much involved. And if you just think about these things like status reports, email management, meeting documentation, SOPs, risk tracking, right? All these things. And a lot of times we'll go to a meeting and people will talk about all these things and it'll go all over the place. And now with technology, hopefully you're all recording the meetings and you're getting access to the transcripts. That's pro tip number one. If you're not already doing it, start doing it because the transcript itself has what everybody said. It's messy because we're humans and we're always talk. Maybe we start talking about status and then some people start talking about, the SOPs and some people are talking about risks and it bounces all over the place. So it would be a lot for us as a human to read a transcript and actually assimilate all that and then put it into multiple artifacts that different people could see. But with the power of AI, and I'll show you a couple of examples today, you can do things very, very quickly. And this is just what I'm showing you today is just the tip of the iceberg. As you lean more into it, there's so much more that you can do. So just take a look at, like, even if it was just 5 to 10 hours a week, this is typical. This is the tip of the iceberg. But I can guarantee everybody in this program right here in the webinar, you can all get 5 to 10 hours a week back with AI. And maybe you're already getting some of this back. And when I say get it back is you're going to go faster in getting things done. You're probably going to put other work in there, which is maybe some other activities that you wouldn't have been able to get to. Or maybe you're learning about AI, maybe you're growing, right? You're going to reinvest that 5 to 10 hours, especially in the beginning. Eventually, you can start to just take that time back and take some time off. But in the beginning, you start out with a lot of efficiencies. So that adds up to a lot of time. Any questions at all about this? There's just sort of a couple quick things to kick it off. I want to get into the demos. So if we go here to what's your biggest time waster? This is a question for the group. And again, when you're working with audiences or groups as well, Mentimeter and Zoom chats and so forth are great ways of having getting more engagement from the audience without using words, right? Some people not as comfortable on a webinar with people maybe they don't know already speaking up. I know as project managers, a lot of you are probably comfortable in communicating. This is good here. This is excellent. So biggest weekly time waster as a PM. So I don't normally use, well, I'm a very positive person. The reason waste is in this is because from a lean practitioner perspective, I'd imagine a number of you are lean practitioners as well. We think about waste. How can we improve the value stream that we're doing? How can we take some waste out to speed this up, make it more accurate, more efficient? And that's why this is in here, because there's a lot of time that you invest in various activities, and AI can help in virtually everything. But when you think about the places where when you stop and think about it for a second, I'm definitely wasting time and spending way too much time doing the status reports, project updates, or meeting documentation follow-ups, right? So these are some good examples when you start to think about where am I wasting time? How can I do this better? Okay, we're going to jump over. I'm going to show you some examples now of those so you can see in real time. And let's start with meeting minutes. That was actually one of the top vote getters there. So if you think about it, when you have meeting minutes, I mentioned you want to have, before AI, you would try to do all this yourself. And I've worked with a number of people. I was not the best at note taking and parsing all the notes and then communicating it. I was a very good project manager in a lot of respects, but I gave a lot of props to the people who could just sit in there and they just took the notes down and they knew who said what about everything. It was very, very well organized. I work with a few of those professionals. What's great about AI is you don't need to be that expert with the note taker and so forth. Take the transcript, drop it into AI, or a bunch of your notes and drop it into AI. So what you can do is you can take raw notes, any raw information, and paste it into AI and then get out structured minutes. Yes, Tanya.
I was going to talk to that specifically because I think so many people are very, very familiar with the note taker and the transcription. But my instance where I learned in real time what AI could do, and it was ChatGPT. This was last year. I was pitching a presentation to somebody. We were actually on the phone. So while we were on the phone, I was just scribbling kind of random notes like she's military, the boss is military, they're in this sector, they want this, that, and the other. And then afterwards, like my brain was kind of like, oh gosh, now I have to go figure out how to do a template and how to assemble this in some sort of neat format. And then I thought, no, I don't. Okay. So I just wrote those brief little snippets and notes, like little post-its. And I said, please organize my brain and put this into some sort of fashion. And it did it. And then I wound up later, since I did wind up pitching a presentation for a workshop and getting it, I had AI, where I was just talking to it going, I want to do this topic. I want to frame it this way. These people are engineers and construction managers. Help me frame my experience in this specific way, which will be really, really appealing. And
Mm.
it did all of that, so gone are the days where we have to search for the million and one templates to find what we love better than the other thing, which is amazing. So,
Very good point. Thank you for sharing that example, Tanya, because you're right. As we normally think about all the templates and what's the best template to get to this audience and to communicate this. And it's a lot on, as project managers, we all deal with people, and it's challenging no matter how good you are to be able to communicate what you're trying to communicate to all these different personalities and different levels of the organization, right? This is where AI can help leverage and again make you superhuman. So let's show you an example of this. Let's just say that you just finished a meeting, and let's even make it crazier than if you have the transcript, you can paste that in, but let's say all you had was a whole bunch of notes, right? So let's go over here, ChatGPT. Feel free to I'll show you this real quick, but feel free to, follow along, paste your own meeting notes, paste something in, play along with it. Um, when we have more time together, we can do examples like together, and I'll give you things to cut and paste in and things like that. But for purpose of today, what I'll do is I prepared messy notes from a meeting, and I'll show you what this looks like. So project status call, and you can see what's in here. Okay, so let's just say you attended a meeting, you took a bunch of notes. You can add the transcript in there too if you want, but we're not even doing the transcript. We're just going to take my messy notes from a meeting, right? So you can see here, started late, Karen's having audio issues, sort of like this one. Tom, blah, 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 right? All these different things that were happening throughout the meeting. There's no real rhyme or reason. At the end, it was like, okay, I think these are the action items. Not quite sure, forgot to mention this. So a lot of stream of consciousness, right? It's all linear, right? You start at the top and you keep going down, down, down. Okay, so this happens, and then you say, okay, I always put lines in. You don't need to put lines in. I just do it for my own head. But now I'm going to put in a prompt, okay? And all a prompt is just a question. It's just, there's two main parts when you're working with AI. It's what are you giving it for input? And then what are you asking it to do? Okay, so what we just did was input. Again, keep it very simple. Whole bunch of messy notes, right? What I'm asking it to do, I just pasted it below here. Please organize these messy meeting notes into professional meeting minutes. Include the following sections. Okay, we want to make it look professional, right? We're project management professionals. Meeting details, date, project name, attendees, key discussion points, decisions made, action items, risk and issues, next meeting. Make it clean and professional enough to send to senior leadership. Okay? So here's an example. Let's say go, ChatGPT. Again, this is the basic. There's a lot of ways to do what I'm showing you, but I want to give you one example. And you can see it comes back in seconds. Here's a clean, structured version. And again, I asked for this format, and that's why it's giving me this format. So make a note of that. You want to ask it for what you want. Don't just be open and general. Project status meeting minutes, you can see here in the format that I wanted. Key discussion points. It took the meetings, it took the notes, summarized it. Now, what it's doing, and I won't get into all of this because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, but even if you wrote a little bit about it, it's going to expound upon it to make it more human readable as far as the key discussion points go. Now, it might not be accurate. So you don't just want to take this at face value and say, oh, here you go, executives, go take a look. Here's all the meeting notes. You want to read all this through. And that is part of, I mentioned you're going to be getting back 5 to 10 hours a week once you start rolling with this. And part of that 5 to 10 hours, you want to reinvest in reading through all the information that AI sends back to you. Because then, number one, you're going to learn from it. You're going to grow from it. You're going to say, oh, wow, that was a good way to say that. I've had AI come back and say things in ways that was much better than I could have said it. Just like sharpen the words. I might have taken like 3 sentences to say something, and it pulled it together into like a phrase. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Right? So it's very good at natural language processing, which are just basically words. But I say that because you want to read all this. You don't know. It might be wrong on some things here. This is like talking to if you brought on a new person on your team or onto the project. they're going to do the best they can to give you what you asked for, but they might not have all the context, they might not have all the answers, and they might guess wrong about something that you asked them to do. So just be aware of that. So it comes back in the format we asked for. And you can see all this came back in, probably took about 10 or 15 seconds total to come through. You can see it made a table for action items, risks and issues, next meeting, additional notes. And then ChatGPT normally prompts you with like, hey, do you want something more? I can do it into a reusable template for you. I can do more things for you, right? There's a lot of things you can do. I just want to show you tip of the iceberg. Here's an example. Again, I want you to think about input and ask, right? You're giving it a bunch of input of data, meeting notes, transcriptions, whatever, and then you're asking it to do something. That's the rhythm here, right? So if you get one thing from today, think about that. The better you get about giving it the input and the better you get about your ask, your prompt, or the way you're asking, the better all this is going to work for you. The faster you're going to go and the more you're going to dazzle everybody with your results. Any questions on that one in particular? Okay, we're going to keep going. So that was the meeting minutes. And again, you can tell I'm all about when we're in a if we were all in a program together, and some of you have seen this before, we're doing this together. It's like, okay, here's your assignment during the program. It's not just me talking and people taking notes. We're all working on it together because I want each of you, I want this to make a difference, as I said in the beginning. I want to meet you where you're at and help you move it forward, move the needle for you. So these examples, please take your own examples that matter to you that are on your desk right now and say, okay, based on what Matt just showed me, let me try to do this because I need to get that done by tonight, or I need to get this done by tomorrow or end of week or whatever. Let me see if I can apply what Matt just showed me to do this task I'm trying to do. Go experiment, go play, right? And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. You learn something from it. But definitely experiment. The more you can invest your time and mental energy in AI, the more it's going to pay off because it's a constantly moving target. It's constantly getting better, faster, stronger. It's already smarter than humans. Now, that's sort of like a weird statement to say because it's not a person, but it's a system that can work with humans and can help us and communicate with us with just language. So let's look at status reports. That was I think number 2 on there. Status reports that came back, or it was tied for first actually. So we've all done this before, and coming out of the waterfall world and then the agile world and all this stuff, status reports sometimes get a bad rap. But at the end of the day, you do need to communicate, right? You need to communicate what's the status. Are we on track, off track? And how you communicate that, whether you call it a status report or anything else, it doesn't matter. But you have to, and this is one of the most biggest challenges I know for project managers, having lived through this, is that you have notes scattered across emails, Slack, personal notes, all different systems, project plans, um, state and your stakeholders want updates, right? They want to know, and sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's once every 2 weeks, once every sprint. If you're doing an agile sprint or anything like that, they want this. So how can you do it better with AI? That's sort of the theme here. You're going to do it yourself, but how can you do it better with AI? Well, if you paste your raw notes in, you can get a boardroom status update, boom, in seconds, just like we did before. So from brain dump to boardroom ready, right? In 60 seconds. So again, AI is very fast about all this, but whatever your speed is, you want to go through and you want to give it a good input, give it a good ask, and then read everything that comes back. And if it's off track, maybe your input or ask wasn't exactly right. Maybe you didn't give it enough context in your input. Maybe you could have improved your ask, right? This is the skill, this is the muscle that we develop in our programs. Because it's really important and it is a skill. It's not something AI is not an easy button. You hit the easy button, it just, oh, it works. I'm using AI now. Everything's great. Everything's happy. Everything's faster. It's a skill that you develop and you move into. So let's show the next one. I'm gonna open up a new chat. Another tip when you're using ChatGPT or any AI, once you go to a new topic or once you're done with your previous topic, open up a new chat. It sort of like clears the mental palette of AI, gives you a little bit more space. Otherwise, it's the input and the ask that you had before and the conversation if you go back and forth with it. is still sort of stuck in the memory of it. So you want to wipe it clean and start over. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So what I did is I just created some notes on an ERP system migration project. Let me go back over here. I'll show you what I put together. So this is, again, this is notes. The goal is we want to get this to like a status report, right? But these are the notes that I think we're all taking notes in different note takers, right? But a lot of times you'll have notes as a project manager and you'll say, here's the stuff for this week's update. And another way to do this, this is all typed, right? Another pro tip for you all is if you're, well, when we're all in front of computers, just hit the microphone button on the computer and just dictate this stream of consciousness. A question that comes up often is, well, what if it's not well worded or it's not clear or I repeat things or I have it's messy the way I'm communicating or I say five things and I only meant to say three. Doesn't matter. Throw it all in there. I do this all the time, stream of consciousness. And I mean this looks even prettier than just stream of consciousness. But imagine if you had all this in your brain because you've been like living and breathing this project for a while and you just needed to get it out and you need to get it organized into a status report. That's what we'll do here. So this could have been dictated. It could have been an even messier list. So I'll put my little 3 lines in. And I'm going to show you the prompt I created for this. Okay, we want to turn this into, so I put it below. Sometimes I put the prompt above. I mean, for the purpose of today, I just want to show you sort of like what we're starting with and keep it with the input and the ask. Turn these raw project updates into a polished executive status report for a steering committee. All right. And again, you can see how clear I am in the ask here, right? You could have stopped there. And if you stopped there, it would have taken its best guess at what it thinks a polished executive status report means for a steering committee. And it'd probably do a pretty good job, but it wouldn't be as good as this because you are working with a client, you're working with your company. There's certain ways that you communicate, certain ways they want you to communicate. So let's just say this is your template. Executive summary, overall status, key accomplishments, milestones, risks, issues, budget, and decisions. Okay? Use professional language. Again, there's a lot worked into this, and I know I'm showing it to you quickly, but when you tell it the type of language you want, do you want it professional? Do you want it concise? Do you want it friendly? Do you want it more relaxed wording? Do you want it more high pressure because you're on a time clock and you want to make sure people get the sense of urgency? You put that in here. You give AI what you're asking it to do. Keep it to one page. It needs to look like it came from a seasoned project manager, not a junior analyst. Okay? So I just say go here, and you'll see it's going to come back. Here you go. It's polished and ready. So executive status report. You can see the mess we started with, right? More stream of consciousness, bunch of notes. It took all that and organized it into the format we asked for. Executive summary, overall status that it pulled from there. Again, you as a human, you're accountable for this. So you need to read it. What I typically do is I take this and I'll put it in the Word doc. I'll start modifying it, edit it, whatever I want to do. But then I go through it top down and I make my own changes to it. You can also make changes to it iteratively with AI. There's things to do there too. But the bottom line is you read this, there's his accomplishments, risks, issues, everything we asked for right there in a matter of seconds. Pretty cool, right? There's like so much you can do and it's so fast. You can easily do, I'm easily 3 to 4 times more productive than I was 18 months ago. Easily. And I have to catch myself because I'm managing 3 to 4 times the work now that I used to. So if something happens, and AI goes down, which happens every now and then, I need my backup AI so I can go and still work super fast and efficient. So that's an example about status reports, right? Those are two of the bigger ones that you put in there. And you can see how AI is just very good at taking large amounts of information, right? We gave it an input and we said, hey, make it look pretty, make it look nice. And you can do this. You can let your mind run wild with all the ways that you can leverage AI for this. You can make it into organized professional presentations, reports, it can be visuals, can be all written, can be spreadsheets, all different things you can do. So let's look at SOP. Let's look at SOP, like an SOP creation accelerator. And I use the term accelerate a lot because that's what AI does. It can accelerate, but you want to be careful not to accelerate what you're not clear on. You want to be very clear about what you're trying to do, because otherwise it's going to accelerate you in the wrong direction, and you won't be happy where it lands. But these are typical things that come up, SOP creation. So let's show you an example of that. Okay, so we'll open up. Again, feel free to go to ChatGPT on your own. So I put together a process description, and I'll show you this. I'll paste it in. This is a made up one. But SOPs come up all the time. Do you all work with SOPs a lot? Right? They seem to always be there. Even for the non-project management professionals, they seem to always be there. All right, we'll go back to ChatGPT. Again, there's a lot of other AIs, and the question that came up at the beginning, Tanya, I'll address now. There's no easy answer to that. You really have to experiment and play with all the different tools that are out there, because you each, even if you're all project management professionals, you each have different personalities, you have different experiences, you have different clients, different projects, and all that nuance matters. So you want to get good working with this is where you want to invest your time and energy in. Play with everything that's out there with AI, and just partner up with people like me, Tanya, and other people who are working with this AI intensely every single day, and then say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you think? And I might recommend like 2 or 3 tools to experiment with, instead of you going after 10 tools and trying to figure out what are the top 2 or 3, right? So with experts, we can help you move faster, but either way, you're going to end up with your own opinion at the end of it based on your experience. And something that may work great for me may not work great for you. Go ahead, Tanya.
I was going to ask if after we do the SOP in ChatGPT, if we could do a quick comparison in Claude as well to see the differences in real time between the two.
Sure,
All
sure.
right, cool. Thank you.
You're leading the witness, Tanya, because I love Claude. Claude's my favorite, um, for a lot of reasons. The short answer why I like Claude the best, 2 parts. Number one, it's the most powerful AI out there for a brain perspective. It's the most powerful processing. If you're trying to crunch numbers and things like that, there's other ones that are at the same level, or probably better. But if you're trying to work with words or do all this stuff we're talking about here, the latest model with Claude, which is called Opus 4.6, is number one. Claude in general has been my favorite for a couple years now because it has the most human nuance in the way it communicates with me, and with a lot of people. They tend to it's a better thought partner than the other ones. The other ones are great at giving you little answers like we're doing here, but Claude tends to have that nuance, and it tends to be a better thought buddy for me. But again, you got to play with it. You got to come to your own decision. So let's talk about onboarding a new team member to an active project, right? So this is just a made up bunch of notes, okay? Because onboarding comes up a lot too, right? We're all involved with onboarding people in projects. Companies onboard new employees with HR, especially, right? There's a lot of things happening with onboarding. And when you onboard, you have to assimilate all this information about people, culture, process, everything, and try to give it to someone and spoon feed them to help them, get ready and become part of the fabric of that project or that organization. So here's a bunch of notes, right? I want to show you the raw notes so you can appreciate what AI is doing. And we're going to ask it to create an SOP. So here's a bunch of notes: intro call, stakeholders introduction. It's basically a laundry list of all the different things that we think are important, for onboarding a new person. Okay, so again, this is stream of consciousness. So now I'll show you the prompt we can use, and then we'll do the exact same thing at Claude because that's a good one that Tanya recommended. So here's the ask. Create a professional SOP document from this process description that we just shared with you. And here's the format. Again, given the format is a good thing. It helps AI get focused to give you what you want. document header, purpose, scope, prerequisites, all this down. Very standard, right, for SOPs. SOPs have formats that vary differently. Vary here and there depending on the company. But make it professional enough for ISO compliant project management office. Use clear directive language like the PM shall. The PM should probably not the PM should probably, right? But be very clear, make it an organized, more scientific document, right? So we'll say go. Okay. I just hit the arrow here because then it just goes to where it is. And then I scroll down. So here it is. It comes right back right away. Because again, AI is brilliant. ChatGPT is a little faster than some of the other models right now, the way they're doing it. This is their fast. A lot of the models have been putting their fast, like think a little less, but give them their answer faster. They sort of get into that rhythm. That's what's a little bit more popular these days. So you can see here, it comes back to the whole SOP. Okay, so there it is, everything we asked for. And again, this is ChatGPT. So to Tanya's point, here's a quality checklist, right? You can go through the checklist. To Tanya's point, let's go through. We go up to the top. Should have it all there. I'm going to copy the message. Okay, just copy everything I put in here. I'm going to go to Claude. Okay, afternoon, Matt. So I have paid plans for both of these, just FYI, but you don't need to. You can still do everything we're doing right here, right now without the paid plan. Although once you get into it, you want to be more advanced, you want to do even more. The paid plans have a number of benefits. Typically $20 a month. So here it is. I just to show you, I pasted it all in. And I'm glad you asked the question, Tanya. So it goes to the 3 lines I put in there, and then here's the ask. So on purpose, I'm going to do my favorite model. This is the big brain model. Yeah, let me show you what it is. It's extended thinking, so think a little longer, and it's also give me your most senior model. Claude has multiple models. This is their fast one, smaller brain, medium brain, big brain. Okay, extended thinking. So I'm just going to show you this because this is going to be different. We didn't put ChatGPT, to be fair, into the same level. We didn't ask it to like super think about it. So not quite comparing apples to apples, but I want to show you the difference in response. Because we put it in extended thinking mode and it's using a bigger brain, um, it's going to use more AI resources. And look, it's even automatically reading the doc X skill. So Claude is automatically going to say, you know what, we should probably put this into a Word doc. And because I'm asking the bigger brain one, it's now on the fly, it creates its own software to create a Word doc from scratch. And it builds it out. And it decided to do that. I didn't ask it for a Word doc, but it said, I think he's probably going to want a Word doc for this. So let me build it into that. And you can see here, prepare to synthesize onboarding chaos and a structured procedure. It shares what it's doing here, and you can watch it. It spins a little bit. This is very, very good to read and to watch. Like when you ask AI to do something, ChatGPT was very quick, just came back. It didn't really show you what it was thinking. We could have asked it to go into a more thinking mode. But you can see here, Claude, and depending on how deep it goes, sometimes it goes through multiple levels of this, and it'll come back with something here. And, sometimes it takes a minute. I'm going to see if it's. Go ahead, Tanya.
While it's thinking, we had a question in the chat from Natalie. It says,
Yes.
can you later share the differences between the free and paid plans? I've thought about it, but not sure what the benefits are other than the requests I can ask in ChatGPT.
Yeah. So in short, my recommendation um, is to use the free plan until it says it runs out of computer power for you and you need to wait. Like Claude works in 5-hour increments throughout the day. I don't know why they didn't do 4 or 6 or something that works for 24 hours, but Claude works in 5-hour blocks. So if you use Claude a lot, like we're using the big brain piece here, and you can see it's taken a while, sometimes it takes a few minutes, and we'll come back to this. But if you're using a lot of processing power like this, it's going to be using a lot more of your credits, essentially. You get so many credits per 5 hour block for Claude. Same thing for ChatGPT. So if you're using it a lot and you're like use it nonstop for like 1, 2 hours in a row, you're creating all these documents, doing all this stuff, it may say you need to wait until the next window.
And that's true for both free and paid, correct? Because I've had those experiences where even on the paid, Natalie, it gives me so much more than what it did previously. But there are still limits. Like I've noticed on ChatGPT, I use it a lot for image generation.
Yep,
And if I'm powering through it, it'll stop me and put me in timeout for a little bit.
exactly. So that's what happens. So the way I would do it, and who had asked that? Was it Natalie?
That was Natalie, yes.
Natalie, so Natalie, great question, comes up all the time. The way I would start with it is just start using it on the free plan for Claude, free plan for ChatGPT, use a whole bunch of them, right? Use the free plan, start working with it, and if you start running into, oh, you have to come back in 2 hours when we reset, or you capped out your usage for this period, because that's how they get you on the free plan, and you want to do more because you know you're going to get benefit from it, then pay for it. Pay the $20 a month, which is ChatGPT and Claude. And then actually me, my executive assistant, a number of our clients now have bumped up from the $20 a month Claude up to the $100 a month Claude. One of our clients just went up to the $200 a month Claude because she's using it nonstop with her and her team. And she's just cranking on a whole bunch of stuff. So again, start free, bump up as you need to, but make sure you're getting the value.
I did have one other question that came in. This one is from Patrick. Is there a difference in output based on the order of input in the ask?
Is there a difference? Oh, a difference in the output based on order of input?
Mhm.
So, like, for example, I typically give my prompt up front, say, act like this, this is
Yeah.
what I want to the notes below. But what I'm seeing you do is you're just putting the notes in and then saying what you want. Is there a difference in the output typically based on that difference?
Got it. No, there's no difference in that. There's no
Okay.
difference in that at all. You can do it either way. Normally, I do it the way you're doing it, but I did it this way just for the sake of demonstration. Because normally I think about what am I asking, and then I say, and then I start including documents and pasting everything in to try to help it with that ask. So I normally start with that, and I could have done that too, but
And then another follow-up question based on your conversation about the different levels of credits and paid versus free versions, what would be another deciding factor aside from that? Like, I mean, I upgraded to ChatGPT. The first thing I was looking for is I love the organization skills of being able to have project folders. I mean, to me, that was worth $20 a month.
yep.
Um, what other factors in Claude, ChatGPT would you say why you would upgrade from free to a paid version? I know, like in ChatGPT, their 250 is if you do a lot of coding and things like that.
Yeah.
But what other qualifiers would you say generally that we could use to identify whether to do paid versus free versions?
As you go, great question, Patrick. So as you go deeper down the rabbit hole of using it for more complex tasks, and I'll give you an example. Um, I have we'll just call it a summary report, but I have a CEO level dashboard that I created by talking with Claude, and I said, "Hey, I want you to create a CEO level dashboard for me." I can just say the word dashboard, and at any point in time, you'll go out and you'll gather all my emails, all my stuff, all my blah 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 blah, everything, and you'll come back and you'll say, "All right, this is what's going on as of right now, 6 a.m., Thursday morning." And it'll give me some instructions. This is what I should tell my team about, blah, 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 all this stuff. That's a very complex task to go assimilate all this information from various sources, right? It goes out to Google Drive, where I have all my documents. It reads everything in the Google Drive, like could be a million files in there. It goes out to email. It goes out to calendar, and it uses all the context. It looks at all the previous chats that we've had together. So that's an example of a very complex task that I work my way up to over time. When I execute that task, it burns credits like crazy because it's going out. It spends probably 15 to 20 minutes. Like this one we just spent was probably maybe 2 minutes or so, maybe 3 minutes. Not that complex. And you can see here, to answer Tanya's question, came out with a document actually that you could actually use for your company. It's already in Word doc format. It already says confidential, internal use only. Um, So you could cut and paste this. You could use this as is or cut and paste this into your company template. Um,
You brought up a good point. That's true. And I forgot about that. There's no download button on this, correct? It is cut and paste. Is
no,
that,
no, there's a download button on
is
Claude.
there?
It did,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
not always intuitive and it's not always,
All right.
it depends on what you're doing. You know what I mean? So
Can you
this,
do it with PowerPoint, though?
yeah,
It
it can,
doesn't, Claude?
yeah,
Okay.
it'll create PowerPoint too.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so to put a note out there, I've been saying all these great things about Claude. Claude is not good about doing visuals. Like it's not the best. It's okay, but it's not the best about, hey, give me this beautiful infographic, give me a great video, give me a great image for this, right? That isn't where they optimize their energy. They optimize it all for code, for processing of language and everything that's like here. Um, and I use this all the time. And Claude does create images that I sometimes use onto murals or muros and things like that. I show it to clients and things like that. It's a great way to start. So you can see here, again, I put it in the biggest brain, told it to think more about it and do its best possible job. And you can see this is pretty amazing what came back. A lot more than ChatGPT, right? Because we asked it for more and we also use more AI credits to do it. But this is an example as you go further down the path. So for your question, Patrick, it's a very good one. You want to be able to um, what I say is you want to keep leveraging the power of AI more and more and more and more. So just take a few minutes each day and say, how can I work with AI more today or in a better way today, differently? And you can ask AI about this too. But and again, as you go deeper down the rabbit hole, you're going to say, okay, I need more processing power. I'm going to need to upgrade because I just, I'm getting so much benefit from this. I can't wait. I can't use all my credits in 2 hours and have to wait for the 5 hour reset every time. Once you start bumping into that, and you'll know. So with that said, you don't need to use the biggest model, biggest brain. You can turn off extended thinking, right? It'll go faster, and you can go to the lower models. Sonnet 4.6 is their default model. That won't use as many credits. It also won't come out with this beautiful of a document either. It's better for a little bit more of like the ChatGPT exchanges that we just did, more for that. So bottom line is it comes in practice. Do more and you'll see it. If you start bumping into walls, you can spend a little bit of money to get more power. All right, let me wind it up because I know we're at a we're on the time. We did start a little bit later, but these are great questions. I really appreciate it because it's all about providing value for you and helping you with AI. So it's a lot about a mindset, right? We all do this in project management, but AI is not just a tool; it's a thought partner, and this is a skill, right? It's like a new relationship. You just met someone for the first time. You just started at a company. You met your manager, right? You don't know each other well yet. You don't know each other well enough to really know what they're thinking. They don't know what you're thinking, right? You got to start again, pretend it's human for the interchange perspective. Like I say please and thank you to it all the time, even though it technically doesn't do anything different. But I do it because that way I'm just interacting with it. And I'm just, you know what I mean? That's how I treat it. That's how I treat everybody, right? If I say please and thank you to people, I do it with the AI as well. So this truly has the ability, and you saw here just today a couple examples. AI is the ability for everybody to become superhuman in the workplace. And again, now you're early. By the end of this year, you might be late if you don't stay in it right now, um, because it's still early. It still hasn't, this tsunami of change hasn't gone across the entire industry. But in 2026, 2027, there's going to be massive shifts for all of us white collar workers. Um, and it doesn't mean all our jobs are going away, but all our jobs are changing. So when you figure out how your job changes and how you can do your job better with AI, then you've leaned into the change and you're part of the change instead of being pushed off to the side. So again, apply the change management techniques that you're all great at to yourself. Work with AI to become really partnered with AI. And it doesn't matter about your technology background or all that. It's just practice, practice, practice as you go. So I had another question with Mentimeter, but I want to just jump to the end here. For those of you who want to go further, I do every program we do is customized for the audience and for whoever's there. And I mean that because it's like everyone. AI gives us the ability to do that. I couldn't do that before. It would take me, you can't do three different programs in a week, and it takes you a week to prep each program. You don't have that much time. But AI, I can do it because we bring all the input in and we can take all my material and everything about your background and surveys and all these things that we do and make it very, very applicable to you so you get the most benefit of it. So I created a program, AI Accelerator for Project Managers. Again, I created the framework of the program based on who comes. We're going to modify the way we go through that program week by week. But it's 4 weeks, 2 hours a week. It's on those dates in April. And it's 8 hours together in these live interactive sessions. The difference between that and this is that in that you're going to be doing it for real. You're going to be opening up multiple browser tabs and you're going to be working with it for real. And you're going to be getting results and measuring your results. And you're going to say, this is what I want to get out of AI, and we're going to help you get there. And hopefully you get past that. And then you want more out of AI. So we're going to really help you hold your hand throughout your AI journey to take it to the next level. If you're already a medium level and you want to go to high, we're going to help you go there. If you're already a brand new beginner, we're going to help you get up faster. And again, change management, I've never seen happen so fast. The program itself, it's a $2,000 program for investment to get in. And again, we guarantee a 10 times ROI that you're going to get within a year for the time and the money you put into the program. And if you don't get it, we'll stay with you until you do get it. But everybody gets this very, very quick. Like I said, this particular example, they were getting for this pricing, they were getting a 10x ROI in the first year. They had a lot of people come through it, so they had a different price point, and they were actually closer to 15 to 20x across their staff. So hands-on exercises, private community. Any questions at all about that? It's all about helping you move the needle, help you move forward.
Did want to acknowledge for everybody on here, I'll be following up on email as well with the information, to people. And, I'll be a resource as well, to kind of help field and steer questions through you for anybody that's got questions. So you've got both Matt, me, Tanya Boyd at Project Success Academy. So we will tag team and help get y'all the information that y'all need. And even on that price point, I don't have it totally communicated, but if your organization sponsors and you have more than 10 people that are absolutely committed to
Yep.
doing it, there's different price points for large organization training, and I
Exactly.
think even some of the savings programs they came out with this year, I can't 529 savings. I know that counts towards PMI and it's like a tax deductible thing, but maybe even check out if you're thinking about investing and wanting to benefit, if with your tax advisor, this could be something you could write off for your learning. So
Yeah, thank you, Tanya.
you're
Whether you
welcome.
work with us or with somebody else, please work with somebody because it's going to help you go faster through this path. There's a lot going on. Our team spends a lot of time, a lot of hours every single week to stay on top of all this stuff because it's constantly changing and there's a lot there. So please lean into it, get good at it, do a lot with yourself, but then find an organization, ours or someone else, that you can really, really get a lot of assistance and that shared experience of the community and learning through this because it never ends. It's going faster, and you want to become superhuman in the workplace because right now it's a differentiator, but in the near future, probably later this year, it's going to be the accepted way. So you want to get ahead of this.